Okay, this tutorial is a bit of computer trickery. It's a way to conveniently get your NotePad files into the same directory as your picture files that will be associated with the NotePad files. And you can do a similar thing for your audio files when you do it. So let me get started here. First thing I want to do is open the File Explorer, maximize it if it isn't already maximized, and select the videos. Well, I'm going to select the directory that has the pictures in it from before. You'll be selecting the directory that has the pictures in it that you want to be working on. So in my case, it's videos, examples, Diane's examples, and these directories should look familiar, and it has the NotePad files that have already been done in here. But if I change directories and I want to move to this new directory, I would have to do a similar process to what I'm going to do here. So what I'm going to start with is to find a picture, and it should be one of the smaller size pictures. So we can see, what some of these picture sizes are. If we just hover, this one here is 67 kilobytes. That's probably not too bad. This one is 35.4 kilobytes. We'll use that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the picture, and on the pop-up list I'm going to come down and I'm going to do an open with, and of course it gives me a list of graphics type programs because it knows it's a picture, and so it's going to recommend graphics type programs. You'll notice in this list it also has the NotePad. Now your list, if you haven't done this yet, will not have the NotePad in it. So what we're going to do is put the NotePad in and select this as one of the options for opening the JPEG files. So you come down to the bottom of the list here and you choose the default program. And it's assuming that you might want to use whatever you select as the new default program. We do not want to do that. So we make sure we unclick that so it's unchecked, because we do not want to use the NotePad as a default program for opening JPEG files. We want to keep your current default program for opening the JPEG files. And you'll look at your list, and your list will not have the NotePad in it, but it'll have the other lists and probably a couple of other things too. So since the NotePad will not be in your list, you go down to the bottom and you click on More Options. And now that's going to bring up more files or more programs that you can use. And these programs are all kinds of different programs, not just the programs that are associated with opening pictures. Like for example, WordPad is in the list. The Windows Media Player is in the list. Of course, that could open the files. A virus scanner could be in the list. Anything, I guess, it looks like it could open this sort of program is going to come up in the list, and the NotePad will be in that list somewhere. So you go ahead and select the NotePad, and the NotePad comes up, and it'll probably come up in this same format, because if this is the last format you use for the NotePad, it should come up like this. And it comes up with what looks like a bunch of garbage. Well, to us it's garbage. To the computer, this is what that picture looks like. This stuff is, each one of these characters is one of the bytes that identifies the well, it identifies 1/3 of a pixel in the picture. So anyway, the main thing it does is, since we selected that picture from this directory, if we do a save as, I'm going to do a file, save as, and it's recommending to save this as a JPEG, which we don't want to do really. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this X. So I'm going to do an X. So since it's going to save as a text file, and I'm going to use X, I could have used Z, just something that'll put it near the end of the list on the folder on the file explorer, and I'm going to save the file. And now that I've saved it, I can go ahead and close it here. And I come down to the bottom of the list and I see there's the x.txt. That's a file we don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So I can either highlight it and hit the delete key, or I can right click on it and delete it from the pop-up list. So what did that little exercise do? Well, what it did is it pointed the notepad at this directory. And that was the whole purpose of that part of the exercise. So now when I open the notepad, now let's say I want to do something for these pots here. Okay. So what I can do is I can click, pause, click again, highlight that file name, copy it. This should look familiar because this is what you've been doing. And then I'm going to open the notepad again, and now I'm going to put an X in here just to give it something to work with when it saves. And I'm going to do a save as. It's recommending x.txt because that's the last file that was saved. I'm going to change that to, by pasting in, I'm going to save that to the AC-pots. And again, I'm going to click somewhere to get rid of that stuff that's hiding my buttons here at the bottom of the screen, which it always does. And I'll save it. And boom, there's the text file for the pots. Now, as long as you're in this directory, now you can basically type whatever you want to type about pots. I'll just say pots. And now I can just save it. And whatever you save is what is in this file now. And then once I am done with this, then I can basically just highlight that actually, and I can go to the next picture and then continue just as I did in the previous tutorial. For now, what I'm going to do is just go close the notepad. And now, until you change that directory, each time you open the notepad, it's going to come up pointed at this directory. When you're ready to go to another directory, you do not have to go through that procedure of reselecting the notepad, because now the notepad is in that list and it knows that it's one of the things that you might want to use when you're opening a JPEG file. But we're using it not to open the JPEG file as a picture. We're using it as a method of pointing the notepad at the directory that we want by selecting a file within that directory. Hopefully that all makes sense. So anyway, that's that tutorial, and you can let me know how this works for you.